Good morning and welcome to our weekly small business recovery webinar provided by Together for LA. We are waiting for folks to join in the webinar as we do. We thank you for joining us each week. If you're new, Together for LA is a collaboration between the City of Los Angeles, County of Los Angeles, LA Economic Development Corporation, the LA Area Chamber of Commerce, the LA County Business Federation, the Dr. Lucy Jones Center, the Institute for Sustainable Development, and a number of private sector and public sector partners who are working to support small businesses in their recovery and resilience in the Los Angeles County area. Today, we are joined, as we are each week, by experts and question answerers from the Small Business Administration, as well as the, which is a federal agency, as well as the Employment Development Department from the state of California, as well as the County of Los Angeles. We wanted to give an update, sort of where we are. We're approaching 3 months from the start of the event next week. And as we do so, we can reflect back and look at some of the opportunities that we have dealt with and solved and the open questions and open issues that small businesses across the county are facing. First, we wanted to update you on the legislation that is going forward that Together for LA is supporting. Through our partners at the LA Area Chamber and the Business Federation, or BizFed, we're working to support and educate our elected officials at the state level in the Assembly and the Senate in providing more direct resources to small businesses, separate and apart from, but in addition to the resources and policies providing for our those that were residential impact. So we understand that the impact on a business is very different than the impact on a resident or a homeowner or someone who's living in an impacted area. And so we continue to push for specific carve-outs, and policies that support businesses that are able to rebuild and come back, as well as those businesses that are still standing that are being impacted by the disaster. This is the work being undertaken in very specific legislation, as well as with general overall policy advocacy for the sector as well. So we want to let you know that is going on a daily and weekly basis behind the scenes, led primarily through our friends at the Business Federation, BizFed. The way you might access that, if you're a small business and you're interested in that, the LA County BizFed is an organization that includes all the chambers of commerce. So your local chamber of commerce, whether you're in Pasadena, Altadena, Santa Monica, West Hollywood, Malibu Palisades, wherever it might be, your local chamber is likely a member. And so connecting with your local chamber of commerce is a great way to get involved in those policy discussions. Additionally, we are working with partners across the region as well in an upcoming effort to promote small businesses and encourage folks to be shopping and dining and recovering with those that are still open. And so in the next couple of weeks, you'll be hearing about a program, again, implemented through our local city partners and the county and local chambers and local tourism agencies that are like the Santa Monica Tourism and Pasadena Tourism and others in order to promote local businesses. So if your business is not connected to your local chamber, your local tourism board, your local city economic development department, I would encourage you to reach out to them now. Or reach out to us through togetherforla.org, and we can connect you to that local organization. These are regional programs that are going to be implemented locally in support of small businesses under the umbrella of LA County and Together for LA. So that's another opportunity that is moving forward. I know that our colleagues at the County of Los Angeles will be joining us shortly to talk about some of those projects. I also understand that this weekend they will be issuing emails and communications to recipients of the Phase 2 Small LA County, LA City Small Business Regional Grant Fund. And so that notification will happen by the 31st. And so that will be happening shortly before our next call. So if you're a small business and have applied and are waiting to hear, that is the time frame by which you will apply. We'll hear from that project. So with that, as always, we do have a Q&A at the bottom of the screen for questions. If you have a question about what we've talked about here today, or other questions related to recovery for small business, please put them in the Q&A and we will do our best to address them or find the answer for you. I'll also acknowledge as you're thinking about your question, if you need individual assistance, whether it's regarding supporting your employees or marketing or lease negotiation or any aspect of business operations, you can go to togetherforla.org, scroll down to the bottom of the page, and you'll find a contact us form. This is in partnership with the LAEDC, the LA Economic Development Corporation. They have individuals who respond directly to you and either assist directly or connect you to other resources. Around the county, both before this disaster and now after, there are a number of organizations funded by the SBA or the state of California or the county of Los Angeles or even local cities that support small businesses in day-to-day operations. And as we move farther from the disaster date, those resources are still available to you and can assist with disaster-related questions and resources that you might need to take advantage of. So again, contact togetherforla.org, and you'll be able to fill in a form saying I'm looking for this, and LAEDC will either assist through their small business assistance program or direct you to an SBA funded small business development center, a women's business development center, or even other partners across the county that are providing resources in various ways. So just be clear about what you're looking for and what you need, and we will work to identify those resources for you. With that, I see that our colleague Layla Lee has joined us from the LA County Department of Economic Opportunity. She is one of a handful in the leadership team there at DEO, Department of Economic Opportunity, who is almost, I would say, 24/7 doing small business support and recovery for businesses and workers. And so, Layla, thanks for joining us today. We also have Andriana Rios from EDD, who's here to answer some questions, as well as a team from the SBA, if you have questions about the SBA, whose deadline is coming up shortly. But I did want to turn to Layla, if I can just ask her for a moment. If you could pull back, because Layla's in a number of conversations with colleagues across levels of government and across the region about our recovery here in Los Angeles. As we're moving into this more steady state of recovery, Layla, I wonder if you could give just a quick update as you sit of what's being discussed and what sort of is the next couple steps that people, small businesses especially, can be looking forward to in terms of what is next, timing, issues that are coming up, things that are being focused on by the recovery task forces that you're both leading and a part of.
Yeah, thank you, John. Thank you for asking that question, because I think it's important to note to everyone that's been impacted that it's not a one-stop punch, right? It's several different prong approaches that we're taking towards the full recovery of every business. So as of right now, when we did the relief funds, the Small Business and Worker Relief Fund, that was really just to get, address the immediate needs of small businesses. We knew that they needed immediate relief. So our hope was to get cash in their hands as soon as possible. We're hoping to announce sometime in next week who the recipients are of that relief fund. But internally, what we're walking through is not just these short-term wins and relief programs, but also what does midterm look like? What does this long-term look like? So some of the conversations we're having, and I think this is the first one is about debris removal. We know that commercial properties have been largely left out of phase 2 of debris removal. Hazardous materials have been they're kind of covered under FEMA. So what we're trying to do is in the county is really advocate for FEMA to also cover phase 2 of cleanup of debris removal for commercial properties as well. I know Governor Newsom also sent a letter to FEMA this week. Our office, the county Department of Public Works also sent a letter to FEMA, requesting, an exception for commercial properties. But so we're awaiting that response. Meanwhile, what we would like for every business to do right now, that any commercial property owner that has been impacted, is to go to recovery.lacounty.gov and please submit your ROE. That ROE is important. It is due by 3/31. I know there's a lot of questions surrounding what a ROE, why it needs to be submitted. It essentially allows um, entry to your property to be cleaned up, or you're telling them that you don't want them to come in to clean up your property. So that information is important. We understand that right now. It's a little bit odd that we're asking you this, even though phase two is not covered for businesses. So we understand the confusion here, but nonetheless, it's important that you do submit if there is an exception provided for your commercial property. So please, again, go to recovery.lacounty.gov and please submit an ROE by March 31st. In addition to that, we're also talking to different partners, including Together for LA, on what we can do in terms of supporting businesses that have been impacted, but are not necessarily on the impacted zone. And even in Altadena as well, there's several motions that are actually coming in the county to light. Some of it is the creation of a loan program for businesses that are impacted, a low interest loan program. We're also talking about a Shop Local campaign. It's going to be called Shop Local, Dine Local, Recover Local. We're still working through the details of this program and funding sources, but the idea here is really to support many of the brick and mortar businesses that have been impacted, especially the ones that are still standing, because we know that it hasn't been easy for many businesses that are still standing. And then other than that, there's several different conversations we're also having on the different resources that you need in the near future. This is why Together for LA, this discussion becomes so important, because we would love for you to kind of give us this insight on what is it that your business needs at this time.
Thanks, Layla, for that. Layla went through a lot of very important sort of updates. If you have questions about that, we can do our best to answer them here, or find an answer and get back to you, or let you know that that's an unknown that is still being developed, which is often the case. Shashil, I've seen you come off mute. Shashil's with the SBA. Is there something you wanted to add here on this macro process, as Layla has mentioned?
I'd love to. Thank you for asking. Hello, Lay, and hello, Mary Ann Bradfield. The key component that I want to roll out is we're working very closely with LA County. We're working on language that's going to be on the flyer that states that the debris removal is something, an expense that we will look to cover as part of our economic injury disaster loans. And that deadline is further down the pike, right? It's not subject to the March 31st. The second most critical part, talk about symbiosis and talk about synergy. The authoritative study that Mr. Chung's group, Institute for Applied Economics, put out, and I'm going to quote their language very specifically from their PDF. They mentioned that the sales volume for the 1,479 companies reported sales of 1.4 billion, and 5 industries accounted for 62% of these sales. The loan numbers that were shared with our administrator, that she just had a visit here on Tuesday, lines up very nicely. The LAEDC study states that real estate, the professional, scientific, and health services are a huge part of the impacted area. And in their studies, they mentioned that there were close to 229 companies in that area, along with 87 companies in the real estate market. So our loan totals and the applications that we've received are very closely aligning with those sectors. So that's good news. But we still have a lot of work to do, and I'm counting on your August offices to help us get into the areas that we're not with, along with the county, so that we can get them the needs that they need. Because I still keep hearing, we don't know what SBA's role is in long-term recovery. And the essence is liquidity. Liquidity drives all, but if we don't know where the gaps are, we're not going to know. So your services, Mr. Bori, and what the county's doing is essential to unearthing those needs. And I've got a very dedicated PIO team, along with the August offices of Julie Klaus, helping us out. So thank you for the opportunity.
Great, Shashil. Thank you for being here week after week, and Layla too, of course, and the whole team. We do appreciate it. As you're hearing this information, you're hearing very clearly that this forum is an opportunity to elevate issues that you're facing, access resources that may be able to assist you, and understand a bit more about this long-term recovery that we're entering into. We knew was coming and is sort of upon us as we look at it. I know that I don't see any questions in the chat, but as we've said in other webinars, you can use the chat or excuse me, in the Q&A program or function. You can use the Q&A function as a chat if there's a comment you'd like to make or a question you'd like to ask, and we can use that as a way to address your concerns. We do know that over the last couple weeks, we've had a lot of questions around access to the Malibu and Palisades area, and we are continuing to work with partners at Caltrans and other agencies to raise that concern. I was on a call this morning where we again raised that issue. We continue to focus on the issues that are being brought up in this forum and in individual conversations you might be having with the agencies like SBA or LAEDC or the county or one of the business source centers or whatever the government or nonprofit partner that you're working with to support your recovery. We're working to compile that information and share that amongst us so that we can continue to focus the resources where they are needed. And so we did identify that there are some new funds, very low interest loans available if you need equipment purchases to replace equipment or that has been impacted and you don't have the resources. We've identified a nonprofit partner who could be helping with that. If that's something of interest to you and your business or a business that you know, please let us know and we can connect you to that resource. There's also continues to be the resources of SBA, at least for the next couple of days, for the physical damages. Shashil, I see your hand. Just jump in here.
Perfect, my friend. Thank you for saying that. Just to give you an idea of the level of specificity that we're working with. I know, John, you're all about what have you done for my customers. So let me share with you what my SBA team in the outreach area has done as of last week. They were canvassing the Malibu area. So the businesses, the Malibu shopping centers that they canvassed are as follows: the Park at Cross Street, Trancas Country Market, Zuma Beach Plaza, Point Doom Village, Malibu Country Mart, Malibu Colony Plaza, Malibu Village, Malibu Lumberyard, Malibu Plaza. So we've been actively talking with the CEO of the Malibu Chamber. We're also going to be talking with the Santa Monica Chamber and the Altadena Chamber folks so that we are able to be on the grassroots level, talking to business owners so that recovery starts sooner than later. I appreciate the opportunity again to speak, sir.
Absolutely. That's great. Thank you, Shashil. That's a great quick update for folks. I have Terry asking in the Q&A, are there any resources for providing temporary mobile buildings? I have a business owner who told me their landlord lost their building in the fire, but will allow her to set up in the parking lot. And Terry, I'm not sure which jurisdiction you're in. Is this, Malibu, Palisades, Pasadena, LA County? Because I believe, and maybe I'll look to Layla if she's available to share a bit about that. But I believe each jurisdiction has its own sort of set of rules for temporary buildings. So it's in the Palisades, so that'd be LA City. And so Layla, I don't know if you're on, and I know you're jumping in and out from a number of meetings still. But Terry, that's a great question. And I know that there's been conversations about temporary housing on cleared lots. I think what we can do is, and we just lost Layla. I think what we can do is connect you. And Terry, I don't know if you're working with City of LA at all, or either the Malibu Palisades Chamber or any organization like that. But we can connect you if you either privately. Here, I'll type you an answer with my private email, and we can connect you to the city who's working on this and get you connected. And then in terms of resources, I know there have been conversations about temporary resources through a couple of our nonprofit partners. So if you could, Terry, email me, I'm going to put my email in the chat or in your responding to your question. And then I can connect you to those folks that are having that conversation and we get more details from you. And Lily, I will also give you my email as well. Actually, I just did the wrong thing. Thanks for that. Lily, actually, if you could put your email in the chat or type your email in the Q&A, and then I can grab your email. I can just email you. Lily, if you could do that. Thanks for that. Great. Thank you for those questions. Those are good. I got it. All right. Lily, I'll email you just shortly, and then you can email me. We can start that conversation. Real-time assistance. I love that. Okay. If there's any other Q&A, please put them in the chat. I do see that we have a hand raised. I'm not sure. I'm not controlling the webinar. So Lyndon, is it possible to, oh, maybe the hand went down. So maybe it was an accident. Is that hand raised again? So Lyndon, is it possible to allow Andrea to speak?
Sure, I can do so. Give me 1 second.
Great. All right, Andrea. You're our first speaker. What's your question?
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having the webinars and for providing the information. My question is, I know they had a holiday gift that they were doing, and we are a nonprofit. However, we are housed in, it's supposed to be commercial property, but it's in a residential area and it's residential property. And when we turned in our paperwork, we were turned down, they said, because we have a residential lease rather than a commercial lease.
Andrea, can I get clarification? What did you apply for?
It was called a Holiday Gift Relief Fund. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it was connected with the holiday. And the reason the officers said they didn't give it out earlier is because of the fires. So I turned in all the paperwork for that, and it was quite a bit. And then what they said, we had to do our lease, we had to do the business license for LA, the nonprofit status, your taxes. And so I can probably look up the exact name if you need me to, but I didn't pull that up before I came on. But I was just trying to find out, is there any way if a business was turned down because they're in a residential lease rather than a commercial lease, and I'm pulling up the holiday grant information now as we speak. Because there's several offices tied in together like yours. Okay, here it is. It was the OSB, Department of Economic Opportunity. They provided the grant. They were connected with it. It was called the Holiday Grant.
From the Department of Economic, Layla has hopped off. Either she got kicked off or she had to hop off. I will follow up. Let me see if I can message you directly.
Okay.
And send you, and we'll connect you with her.
Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that.
Nope, I can't. Let me see. Lyndon, I don't have the ability to direct message Andrea. Lyndon, can you send her my email so we can follow up for her?
Absolutely, yeah, and we'll follow up with her as well.
You just put my email in the chat, that way everybody can reach out to me, and I can just go from there, if you would, Lyndon.
Okay.
John at drlucyjonescenter.org. Pretty easy for folks, but it's a little long to read out loud. So, Andrea, if you would just email me, and I'll connect you back with Layla, and we can figure out what's going on with that that grant fund and what was happening. I hadn't heard about it, but we'll at least try to get some answers for you. It's actually, I know, Dr. Lucy Jones Center, the one you add the doctor before Lucy on that one, Lyndon. Sorry about that. And so this is great, and we appreciate all of you being here. A little less formal today. happy to, again, we have SBA here as well as EDD if you have any questions. But I think there it is. There it is in the chat. That's my email address. And so please feel free to reach out if you have a question here, and we'll try to connect you to where we're going or what you're needing. We will be, again, I'm looking at some questions in the chat. So there's a question about contractors. And so Terry, they're both the AIA-LA and the Structural Engineers Association of Southern California are looking for or offering a resource list on their websites for contractors or not contractors, sorry, architects and engineers who are able to do this type of work. And so if you search for AIA-LA or Structural Engineers Association of Southern California, both have web pages for fire resources that include people that are part of their associations and are professionally licensed and able to be vetted. And it's not like choose this person, but here's a list, and you need to do as a consumer, go through the list and see who you'd like to use. But all of them are affiliated with those two professional organizations here in Los Angeles. Great. And Elise talked about the ROE, and again, that was what Layla was talking about. I'm not sure if others I'm not as familiar with the ROE program. I'm not sure if others on the call are, but we could definitely contact. I would recommend you contact County of Los Angeles, particularly Layla Lee, right? She's the lead there, or her office at DEO, and hopefully they'll be able to assist you with that. With that, if there's no other questions, we can definitely appreciate, again, our speakers from SBA and EDD for being here. I do see another, oh, interesting. Donna, you've got a good suggestion there. I'll pass that along to the folks at the county. Thanks, Donna. And Lily Castaneda, have you been to the DRC, the Disaster Resource Center, and asked about the programs and what you're looking for your daycare facility? You have. Perfect. Okay. Appreciate that. And so Jeff has a question for SBA. He's asking that there was damage to his home that destroyed product. I don't know if our team from the SBA can see this. Can SBA provide a loan, but only with real estate as security? Is this true?
Well, if Marianne, do you want to jump in, or would you like me to answer that for you?
I have been deferring to you, Sushil, unless you specifically ask for my input.
Very nice, Marianne. Thank you. I appreciate the privilege. So the short answer, John, is that the absence of collateral is not a reason for denial. But if it exists, we'll take it, and they can borrow up to $50,000 unsecured. 25,000 for physical, 25,000 on the economic injury side. So damages to their home will be assessed by a verifier and or through Google Earth, the technology. And whatever inventory was at home, potentially for the home-based business, will be covered as part of lost inventory. And the interest rate is a fixed 4% over a maximum 30-year term.
Thank you for that. Hope that gives a little, Jeff, hope that gives you a little more insight, at least for what we have right now. I have a question for EDD. Money Network says some accounts have been impacted by not being able to transfer funds to a bank account, mine included. Money Network could not say what the problem is. Do you know what that is, Adriana?
The only thing I could say on that is the Money Network is a third-party vendor for EDD. If you are having any situation with Money Network, my suggestion would be to try to contact unemployment and see if there's any block on your account of any sort. And if there is, that way they could go ahead and clear that and verify what that, what that situation is with money work. See if they could be able to, work something on EDD's end of it. But yeah, Money Network is a third-party vendor. This is the first I've heard of that. So if you could communicate with unemployment insurance and see if there's any block, that way they could go ahead and guide you, accordingly, because it is a different department from our department, the employment workforce services.
Great. Shashil, Jeff, thank you for that, Adriana. I appreciate that clarification. Back to Shashil, Jeff said that he said, I was told only security is real estate. And then is there someone they can talk through it with?
Have them give me a call. I'm more than glad to take that call from the gentleman. And I'll put
yeah, you can type an answer to him directly.
I'll do that, sir. I'm doing that right now.
Privately, yeah. And
yes,
so,
sir.
And then also Thea, if I'm saying that correctly, said that her SBS loan stated, we have withdrawn your application. So a withdrawn application, unable to verify property or damages.
So what'll happen is have her contact the 800 number, the 800, and I'll type the response for you. Not a problem at all. It's a very simple fix. There are quite a few applications that were denied based on verification, and not an issue. They'll send somebody out to verify that the property was taken care of.
So is there something she needs to do or just wait?
I'm going to just respond to her. She calls the SBA toll-free number, and they'll tell her what to do. But I'm going to specifically state that, and what she needs to do is write a letter requesting re-verification of her disaster property, and they'll then send somebody out to take a look at it.
Perfect. Thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
And Jeff, thanks for your thanks. All right. So with that, always a great conversation here of topics that, one person raises that may affect many people. And so we appreciate you sharing your circumstances that you're in. I have a number of folks who I have emailed or started to email, and will do so after this webinar to get back to you. In the meantime, if you have a question that comes up, you don't have to wait till this webinar next week. You can go to togetherforla.org, which is connected to the LAEDC, the LA Economic Development Corporation website. There's a form there's resources there, the recordings from this and past webinars, other resources. And if you scroll down, there's an opportunity to get in touch, fill that in, and someone from Lyndon's team over at the LAEDC will reach back out and either be able to assist you directly or connect you to someone who can assist you. Again, this may be a short stopgap, but doesn't replace going to the DRC if you have more specific and complicated questions that you want answered. And we'll continue to try to provide that support and resources. There seems to be a direct message here to Adriana about EDD in the Q&A. And so I'm not sure. It looks very specific, but I'm not sure if there's something you want to type directly to the individual, Adriana, in the Q&A, the open question there. We will happily stick around for a couple minutes if you have other questions that you want to ask in the chat. But again, I want to thank our partners at SBA, EDD, and the LAEDC for being here, as well as Layla Lee from the County of Los Angeles Department of Economic Opportunity for sharing some updates with us. We'll be back again next week and continue to provide updates and resources as they're made available. Please don't hesitate to reach out in the meantime. We appreciate your willingness to be with us in order to support your business or other businesses in your community. I do know a number of the attendees here are organizational leaders. And if there's something that you need also, please don't hesitate to reach out through the Together for LA portal. All right, so on behalf of Together for LA and our team, we appreciate all of you being here, and we'll stick around for a couple minutes, and then you can be on your way. Have a great weekend, everybody. Talk to you soon.